you very much.
Now may I introduce Dr. Judy Sutherland, who is here to speak on behalf of NIWA.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Nā mai haere mai ki te Tahurangi Wellington Regional Science and Technology Fair, called Judy Sutherland tōku ingoa. Greetings and welcome to the awards ceremony for the Wellington Regional Science Fair. I'm a regional manager at Wellington and I'm a molecular biologist, so I work with DNA. And I'm really thrilled to be here to celebrate the prize winners for the Regional Science Fair this year. And I'd also like to thank some people and organisations who've been involved in the 2020 Science Fair. Our thanks to Victoria University of Wellington for hosting us here with their sponsorship. Again to the Wellington branch of the Royal Society and to all of the other sponsors. Without the support of these organisations, the Science Fair couldn't run, and that would be a huge loss to us all. And huge extra thanks this year go to the organising committee who have worked tirelessly and creatively to run the Science Fair in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic and the associated level restrictions. It became apparent earlier this year that the Science Fair wouldn't run as usual, and the committee has pulled out all the stops to come up with a system that allowed participants to do their projects and to present them and to interact with the judges. It's a credit to the organisers and it's a credit to all of you who have taken part, those of you in this room and those of you watching online. You've really given it a go. It takes more than a global pandemic to stop the science fair. I'd like to thank all the judges, especially our Chief Judge, Gregory Douglas here. All the judges tackled assessing in a really different way to usual, watching online presentations and talking to participants on Zoom. They spent a really long day in front of their computers, and as always, they worked very hard to make sure it's as fair as possible to everyone. So thank you, all of you. The support and encouragement of parents, teachers, and whānau is always hugely important. To nourish ideas, to provide practical support, and I'd imagine this year to help with making videos. We appreciate the effort that all of you put in on behalf of your young people. Most importantly, I want to thank all of you for coming and for taking part. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have Science Fair. We need people to take part, to do their projects, to participate. Science is all about asking questions and finding the best answers we can, and then asking more questions and finding even better answers. Science is a process and it can be slow, but it can be really interesting and a lot of fun. One of my favourite quotes about science is attributed to a science fiction writer called Isaac Asimov. Nobody knows if he ever actually said this, but it's good anyway. He's supposed to have said, the most exciting phrase to hear in science, the one that heralds new discoveries, is not Eureka, it's that's good. And I often think about this when I'm looking at a result that's unexpected or a bit puzzling, it didn't turn out the way I wanted. Those are the most interesting results by far, and they can lead you into thinking about your experiment or your problem in a different way and really learning something new, usually after a period of being quite confused. Maybe you had some that's funny moments while you were doing your projects. Or maybe even you had some, that makes sense moments. That's my other favourite kind. I think every one of you who's taken part in the Science Fair should feel really proud of what you've achieved. You've completed your project or inquiry, and the standard of the projects has been really high. I hope you've had fun, and I hope you've learned something new about the world. This is a time when all of us need to be asking questions and checking sources of information, and not just going along with stories that someone tells us because they feel exciting or good. It's more important than ever that we use our critical thinking to decide what path to follow and who to listen to and whose opinion we value. So science gives us one roadmap for doing that. So stay curious and keep asking questions, and I hope I see many of you at the Science Fair next year with another project, whether it's in person or online. We'll go on learning together. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Bradley Douglas. I'm the Chief Judge of the Science Fair. What
what that means is that I don't actually get to judge all of you guys on an individual basis, but I have to corral the pairs of judges that would have interviewed you by Zoom, or interviewed a few of you by Zoom, and didn't manage a lot of others, which is unfortunate. But they're physical scientists, psychologists, education researchers, a lot of different fields who really enjoy coming on to judge you guys. And the one thing that they did miss this year was getting to talk to you guys individually, well, a lot of you again, because of our difficulties. This virtual fair was an experiment for us as well. And fortunately we had a fallback. You guys did your YouTube videos and presented your PDF slides, and that's what you got judged on. And so we still had an awesome fair. You guys have all deserved your prizes, and I hope that you guys continue to do similar experiments based on ideas that you have in the shower. You think, yes, I'm going to research that while you're walking your dog. You have a good idea, I'm going to go research that. I don't have much more to say. I did have something I wanted to say, but I can't remember what it was. But basically, we're just going to hand out some prizes now, I think. And Christy, do you want to finish off and I'll read out some names?
Okay, yeah, thank you again, Mark, Judy, and Brad. And congratulations to all of you on your entries. As Brad said, the judges are really impressed with your projects, and you should be really proud of what you've achieved and persevering with your projects under really difficult and constantly changing circumstances. So thank you for being standing with us while we work this through, and we've learned a lot along the way, which will hopefully make us have bigger and better fairs in the future, and hope to see all of you back in 2021 for the next fair. So thank you very much for talking from me, and to quote the last chair, John Warriner, let's give out some prizes.
All right, so what I'm going to do first is read out a whole bunch of highly commenders, and instead of coming down, I'll ask you, those guys to stand up, and then we'll give them a clap, and then we'll go on to some special prizes. So if you're here, please stand up. Ewan Riches from Northland School for fantastic fruits and where to rind them. Penny Jorgensen from Northland School, Sweet Dreams. Ruby Easton Smith and Iris Polshak from Roroa for Walking with Whales. Lucy Wellington from St Orange for Mushrooms. Sarah Reid from St Orange College for Does Colour Affect the Rate at which Ice Melts? Noah Talbot from Wadestown School for Mousetrap Car. Petra Boris from St Anthony's School for Mona Pizza. Ben Trugley from Evans Bay Intermediate for Catapults Armed for Length. Maria Redland from Queen Margaret College for Astounding Dissipation. Neha Ramanathan from Queen Margaret College for Moist Shore Meter. George Doyle from St Francis de Sales. Does helium affect the performance of the football? Madison Homewood from Wadestown School for How to Ride on Air. And Gussie Hampton from St Samuel Marsden for Stormwater, what really goes down the drain. So I don't know that any of those guys are here, but let's give them a clap anyway. And now I'm going to read out some people in bunches of five and have them come down to the stage. And as you receive your envelope, just make sure you look towards Joji for a quick photo. Millie Abernethy from Northland School, Reducing My Rubbish. Australia Mapati from Hutt Intermediate for Trebuchet. Abhimata Rajmanto from Newlands Intermediate for the cathode, the anode and the fruit. Sorry, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're finished, yeah. So we're up to Tom Simpson from Northland School for salt concentration on seed germination. And Lucy Hanson from Northland School for the science behind the sauce bottles. She's not here. So give those guys a clap. So make sure you stop in fives, and then we'll cycle through the photos after the Frida Paramo from Queen Margaret College for the ups and downs of air displacement. Sept and Leith Warden from Raro Normal Intermediate School for flaming succulents! Exclamation mark. Just hold it there and then we'll jump through after the. Sophie Conway from St Lawrence College, the effect that chicken feet has on chicken growth. And Ray Salmon from Wellington Girls College, Plan B equals Planet B. And Samara Saza from Northland School, Sunny with a chance of smiles. Give those guys a clap. Come through. Alright. You guys are discussing. Alright. Amanda King from Waitestown School. Guess who? Children's Trust. I haven't written previous prizes. She wins highly commended and Victoria University Wellington School of Psychology $60 book voucher. Patrick Jones from St Mark's Church School for White Wonder. He wins the VW School of Psychology Prize, Dorian Gates Memorial Prize, and is highly commended. Zachary Swallow from St Mark's, Lockdown Happiness. He wins VW School of Psychology Prize and the VW Faculty of Education Prize. Ellie Cook from Wadestown, What Factors Improve Mood? Wins the VW School of Psychology Prize. And Stephanie Knock and Kat Muller from Raro Normal Intermediate School for Biodegradable Plastic, Fact or Fiction, wins the Australian Encouragement Association Prize. Well done.
I'm not biased, I'm at the School of Psychology, so. I messed that up.
Well done.
What are you doing? Trying to use reverse psychology?
Alright, the next bunch are Abby Montgomery from Northwood School. I don't mean to be corny, but dark corn husk pie was suitable for biodegradable packaging and wins Geoscience Society Prize, New Zealand Institute of Chemistry Prize, Dorian Gates Memorial Prize, and is highly commended. Elsa Terport from Northland School, Preferred Cause, wins the Australian and New Zealand Council for the Care of Animals in Research and Testing Prize, and is highly commended. Caleb Tristan and Owen Booyer from Rara win for That's Fire, win the ESR Prize, and is highly commended. Finn Fraser from Rara for Light of the Bacteria, wins the ESR Prize. And Mitchell McDowell from St Mark's Church School, Great Yeast versus Egg Debate, wins the New Zealand Baking Industry Research Trust Award. Well done.
It's so much easier than graduation. Of course, I'm not reading the names out, so.
And my last bunch, Olivia Hire from St Lawrence College for what are the links between fast food logos and people's colour preferences, wins the Cancer Society of New Zealand Award. Grace Williams from Wadestown, hand sanitisers versus germs, wins the ESR Prize and is highly commended. Sophia Pavia Smith from Wadestown, which type of paracetamol is the most soluble, wins the Wellington Medical Research Foundation Prize. Harrison Just from Northland School, did you smell that? Wins the Wellington Medical Research Foundation and is highly commended. And Lucas Blunt from Northland, which wood? Testing the properties of wood for house construction wins the New Zealand Farm Forestry Association Wellington Branch Prize. Well done.
Let me hang it. I'm not going to give you the envelope until you've done it. Just do.
Aaron John, Rara Normal Intermediate School, Ashland Bacteria. Ira Crampton, Rara Normal Intermediate School, The Art of Cleanliness. Oh, sorry. I'll go back. Aaron John, Rara Normal Intermediate School, Ashland Bacteria, Cancer Society of New Zealand, and ESR. Ira Crampton, Rara Normal Intermediate School, The Art of Cleanliness. The Massey University GNS Science Joint Centre for Disaster Research. Samantha Gore, Felix Fu, Rara Normal Intermediate School, A Pill Staking Pathway, Wellington Medical Research Foundation, and highly commended. Pujal Pednika, Onslow College, Household Radiation versus Household Shields, ESR. Houston, St Bernard's College, Springy Spring, Measurement Standards Laboratory Callaghan Innovation. Charlotte Merwood, Samuel Marsden Collegiate, testing the pH levels of water using cabbage juice, New Zealand Institute of Chemistry, and highly commended. Zara Ali Sakufakis, Yasmin Ramanathan, Queen Margaret College. How does the position of a paper's plane centre of gravity affect its flight length? Royal Aeronautical Society. Jasper Lynott, Wadestown School, two different agencies, different colours better. New Zealand Association of Optometrists, Wellington Branch. Agatha Morley, Wadestown School, will calling something healthy make people like it less? Cancer Society of New Zealand and New Zealand Institute of Food Science and Technology. Osana Pereira, Southland Boys High School, making pathogens, ESR, and Wellington City Libraries. Kensal Moon, St Mark's Church School, Ocean Cleaning Pipitea, Geoscience Society of New Zealand, Callaghan Innovation, and highly commended. Jessie Rumble Smith, Wadestown School, Effects of Saline Soil on Manuka Plants, Wellington Botanical Society, Victoria University of Wellington Faculty of Education, and New Zealand Farm Forestry Association Wellington Branch. And now we have the Class 1 awards. Isabella Ismail Sanders, Wadestown School, Bitch PH, Hugh D. Gordon Memorial Prize, and 4th in Class 1. Miles Armstrong, Northland School, Soybot the Social Robot, 3rd in Class 1, Victoria University of Wellington School of Engineering and Computer Science. Cormac Wood, Northland School, The Acoustics of Eavesdropping, 2nd in Class 1, E-Cube Limited, and Measurement Standards Laboratory Callahan Innovation. Tilly Jowett, Northland School, do externally enabled vehicles save lives? 1st in Class 1, Number Works and Words. Miro Kennett, Northland School, Betrays Precarious Plankton, Hugh D. Gordon Memorial Prize, and 4th in Class 2. Oh, sorry,
That's okay.
sorry, Miro, I read you out with the Class 1, but Miro is in Class 2. Carrying on Class 2, Ben Young, Evans Bay Intermediate School, fully charged, 3rd in Class 2, and E-Cube Limited. Rocket, Northland School, the pocket money scandal. This equal in Class 2, Number Works and Words. Ishan Badiani, St Mark's Church School, the hot case. First equal in Class 2, Victoria University of Wellington Faculty of Education, and New Zealand Institute of Food Science and Technology. And on to Class 3. Macy Marnie Stud, Single Marsden Collegiate, slip or grip with different shoes, 4th in Class 3. Elliot Nance, Robert I College, homemade face masks, 3rd in Class 3. Alexandra Moore, Samuel Marsden Collegiate, does the liquid used in hydraulics affect the maximum mass it can lift? 2nd in Class 3. Sophie Hayes, Wellington Girls College, would you exercise to tell the time? 1st in Class 3, Callahan Innovation. Elliot Brown, no, Class 4. Class 4. Elliot Brown, Robert I College, Biofuel, 3rd equal in Class 4. Chris Lander, Damien Melvin, Upper Hutt College, Invisibility, 3rd equal in Class 4. New Zealand Association of Optometrists Wellington Branch, and highly commended. Cameron Grice, Flynn Garland's, Robert I College, Virtual Education, 1st equal in Class 4, Victoria University of Wellington Faculty of Education. Mikey Lemon, Pipitea College, Masking the Truth. First equal in Class 4, the Massey University GNS Science Joint Centre for Disaster Research and Victoria University of Wellington Faculty of Education.
Sorry, apologies, our mistake.
Applies.
Apologies. Do you know confusion or situations? Okay. Well done.
And now the last two from my favourite Wellington College, Wellington High School, for Class 5. Ryan Bright, Wellington High School, Bottle Airflow Investigation. Second in Class 5, Victoria University of Wellington School of Mathematics and Statistics, and Victoria University of Wellington Faculty of Education. Lydia Acton, Wellington High School, Swinging Sound Tube, first in Class 5.
Thank you, Alex. Now to the premium witness. So we've actually got. So I'll ask Sophie to just not do anything because she's not here. I'll read it out. Sophie Hayes from Wellington Girls College. Would you exercise to tell the time? She's received the Royal Society of New Zealand Wellington Branch Prize for runner-up best overall exhibit, and Victoria University of Wellington, Teharanga Walker, Victoria University of Wellington Faculty of Science Prize. So what we'd like to do is just show you a couple of minutes of her video, not the full video, you can see the full video on the website.
Can we switch the lights off?
It's pretty annoying when the watch goes flat. That's why, for my science fair project, I made and tested a few ways to make a smartwatch charge without it causing any inconvenience to the wearer. Using an Arduino board connected to a computer and a multimeter, I could test my designs in both volts and amps. I had two designs to test, the solar panel and the magnets. My first design used magnets inside a tube of copper wire so that when the wearer was exercising, the magnets moved inside the tube, generating kinetic energy to power the watch. After many changes and adaptations of this design, I concluded that while this design can power an analog watch, it can't keep up with the high power needs of a modern day smartwatch, failing to reach my energy goal of 1 watt-hour per 18 hours. But all hope was not lost. My second idea was to use a solar panel on the watch face to harness light from any light source. I had a couple of ideas on how to mount the solar panel on the watch, from using a flexible panel to having little pop-out ones on the back. But in the end, I decided that the best way to have it would be on the dial itself, where it would slide back to use other functions of the watch and the time would be displayed clearly above the panel. From my experiment using a low voltage lamp, the solar panel did not reach their energy budget, and because I couldn't test it outside under the sun easily without moving the whole computer, I will just have to hypothesize that when tested under a more powerful light source, the solar panel will collect more power because the sun is far more powerful than a 5-watt lamp. I also wanted this experiment to simulate lockdown, as that was around the time when I tested the panel, as in lockdown you can't go outside much and you may have to rely on another light source to charge your watch like the lamp. The output of this design may also change due to the season, summer or winter, or just how much sun is out in general. In conclusion, my design could be adapted further to reach the high voltage needs of modern day smartwatches and artificial light. Have a look at my slides for more details on my experiment.
I decided to let it all because it's only 3 minutes, and so a really big round of applause for Sophie. Just trying to get to the next slide. How do I? Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Right, okay, now on to Lydia Acton from Wellington High School for her swinging sound tube. She has won the NIWA Prize for Best Overall Exhibit and the Victoria University of Wellington Faculty of Science Innovation Prize. So before you stand up, we'll do the same with your video.
Hello, I'm Lydia from Wellington High School, and this is a swinging sound tube, a flexible plastic tube with corrugation from the inside. When you swing it like so, a sound is created, and when you swing it faster, it goes up. So how is the sound created, and what affects the pitch, and when that pitch is reached? As we spin the tube through the air, we're integrating the airflow that goes through the tube. The fringe of the tube is moving through the air, and the air inside that fringe of the tube is moving a lot faster than the base of the tube, which brings it pretty stationary. According to Bernoulli's principle, points of higher fluid speed will have a lower pressure than points of slower fluid speed. So the air with comparatively high air pressure will rush up where the air has low air pressure, and this will create airflow going through the tube. We can show that it does indeed a pressure drop when this end of the tube is moving faster. Here I found the velocity by looking at a video on tracker, and I found the pressure using a pressure meter. You can see as I spin the tube faster and this end of the tube is going faster, the pressure does indeed go down in accordance to Bernoulli's principle. And here I've shown that air does indeed get sucked through the tube and out the other end. And I've done it by simply attaching a plastic bag to one end and whirling the tube like usual. You can see as I whirl the tube, the air gets sucked out of the bag and starts to deflate. And when the bag is completely deflated, there's no more sound because there's no more airflow going through the tube. If the air goes through the tube, due to friction, the air near the inner surface of the tube will slow down, forming shear lanes. These shear lanes will hit the edge of the corrugations and tumble into a vortex. This is known as impinging shear layer instability, or as an edge tone. The vortex will oscillate back and forth, creating a frequency. The frequency of the edge tones are proportional to the velocity of the air going over the tube divided by the length of the corrugation. So as the velocity of air goes up, the frequency will also go up. And it means that tubes with smaller corrugations are able to produce higher frequencies. So when we spin our tube,
Sorry, I'm just going to stop it. Yeah.
It's on our
Lydia.
It's on our website.
It's on, these are all on the website. I think the top prize one is on the website. I know all the videos. So awesome work, well done. Would you like to put an actual prize? Would you like to give the prize on behalf of Victoria University or West Wellington as well? thank you very much, everybody. I think that's us. But congratulations again to you all. Well done. You did a really awesome job. And I hope to see you all again next year. And thank you again to everyone involved in organising. And let's go out and enjoy the rest of our Saturday. Thank you, guys.
Can you grab them before they go? I'll just sort this out. Just tell them.
We have to.
We're just going to get a photo. Why don't we do it out here?